car, so I'm going to be shifting between looking at you and looking at the road. But don't worry, I am a safe driver and I have a dash mount. That's where you guys are sitting. So I'm not holding this with my phone. In fact, this is one free hand, the other one's on the steering wheel. And I am in my clinical year. I am headed down to Florida. I have 3 rotations in Tampa, so I will be here for a total of 12 weeks. And I'm in the car. Like, obviously I need to pass some time in the car, so I'm here making a video for you guys. And as you can see in the back, there's like a bunch of stuff packed. Toulouse is in the car. He's like on the floor. You might see him pop up. When he hears me talk, he like gets up. You might hear him meow. But as the title of this video says, I'm going to be doing a story time about all of my car experiences in Grenada since I'm in the car. That was loud if y'all heard all of the bumps I just went over on this bridge. But I'm on the freeway right now, so yeah. One thing that I always look back on in being in Grenada is like the car issues that I had down there. If any of you are watching this that were a student, or like maybe you're from Grenada, like you might be able to relate. Or if you're just watching it because you watch my stuff, like I just hope you get a laugh. But I have a few stories that I want to share with you about my driving experience down there. So first of all, if you don't know, Grenada was a former British colony, so they drive on the other side of the street compared to in the US, and the steering wheel is on the other side of the car. So that was a huge adjustment when I first got my car. And how I actually, before I ever bought a car, me and my girlfriend, we rented a car in Grenada for 24 hours, and we used it to go up to the northern side of the island and see some stuff that we had been wanting to see. So we rented this little 2-door car. It was like a 2-door RAV4, and we were driving. I picked it up. It was like super scary because I was like, oh my god. And even just getting from like the rental agency like to where she lived at the time, which was like all of like maybe 5 minutes, took me like 15 because I was driving slow. And we were good. Like, you know, we went on up to the island. We were doing good. We passed across, so there's this place in Grenada called Welcome Rock or Welcome Stone, and you go up this gigantic steep hill. Like, I've seen people walk it all the time. And then you get up there and you hike a little bit and you just overlook the northern beach called Lavar Beach. It's really, really pretty. It's a really pretty view. I'm pretty sure I have a picture that I can probably put like right here. So yeah, but so as you're going to the driveway where this gigantic hill is, there's this itty bitty bridge. Like, I'm telling you, like probably the smallest bridge I've ever seen. Like, honestly, the bridge was so small, I was like, dang, can we fit across it? Like, is it made for a car to go across? And we went across, got up there fine. On the way back, there were like 6 kids sitting on this bridge. And so, I mean, when I tell you this bridge was so small, like you had to perfectly navigate your car through it to not hit the sides. And so again, I mean, if you've never driven on the other side of the road or on the other side of the car, like you will know, like your blind spots are different than what you've learned to drive in. So it was like, oh my god, like I'm still learning how to drive. I'm trying not to hit these kids and like run over their toes. Like, I don't understand why they didn't move, but they didn't move, and I hit the wall. And me and Maggie were like, we were like, oh my god. And so I was like, oh no. And all the kids are just looking like, sucks to be you. So I was like, oh my god. So we pull on and we drive on till we can stop again. And when we got out, sure enough, that bumper was like good indented. It was like a yellow painted wall, so it was yellow paint. And I was like, oh my god. So I was like, no, don't panic. Like, my dad can fix any and everything, and I was like, we're gonna fix this. We're about to be like my dad today. So we finished our little island excursion or whatever. We went home. We sat outside for like 3 hours looking up all different ways to pop out a bumper and get the paint off. We got all of the yellow paint off. Now that we were successful with. I don't remember what we did. Like, I think we went to the store and got like stuff. We looked up stuff. We got the paint off. We could not get it to bump out. We tried the boiling hot water. We tried to get a plunger. Like, everything of where it was, like, which was like on the like right. Is that the fender? I don't know car parts. So let me shut up. The part that curves over the tire. It just wasn't happening. And I was like, we just gotta bite the bullet, man. So, lo and behold, we took it back. I knew it was there, and I admitted to it. I was like, we did it in the car. Like, and I was just thinking to myself, we're probably not the first people out of all the little tourists that come down to Grenada. And we ended up like having to split it like 100 each way, which wasn't terrible, but it was like, dang. And it was the end of the semester. That's the time of the year when you're like the poorest because all your loan money is like running out. You're ready to like go back home. But it was still fun, and it's something we still laugh about to this day. Which you might be saying, like, Brittany, can you just not drive and see the bridge? I should have like prefaced this video by saying like the roads in Grenada are narrow. Like, if you're not on like the main strip, which is Maurice Bishop Highway, or like that main part, once you get out of that, like the roads get narrow. narrow, especially like up on the northern side of the island, which people in like St. George's, the main city, call it the country. Some parts of the island, like the road to us, if you're watching this from the US or Canada or anywhere like that, if you were like on those roads, it doesn't look like two cars should be able to pass, like going either way. So you learn, like, I mean, I learned that you can drive really close to two cars down there, and people walk on the side of the road. And the more I drove, I got used to it. I still wasn't driving like I feel like Canadians drove. Like, I tell everyone down there, when you first get a license, get a car, be careful, because like the driving is just different and it's aggressive. But I just wasn't used to like that narrow of a road, which goes into my next story. So obviously there's not many sidewalks, there's not many parking lots anywhere, again, like unless you're just in a general area that might have that. So a lot of times when you're parking, you literally just like pull on the side of the road. Sometimes it's like extra like pavement, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's just grass or like dirt, like that's been like, you know, leveled off. And me and Maggie, again, she's always there. So we were pulling over to go get pasta at this great place, which if you are in Grenada or haven't tried it, I would 100% recommend going to Nirvana's Pasta. And it's a little old Italian lady, and she makes homemade pasta out of her house. And it's in this area called Frequenze, and it's like very residential. Again, it's her house. So it was nighttime and we pulled over. We knew we had to like kind of pull out of the, you know, the road, because again, like this part of the road, it wasn't super narrow, but it was just like, you don't want to like just cause extra congestion. So I knew there was grass, there was high grass. So I just told myself, we're gonna pull over. Another thing in Grenada they have are deep like drains, and they run on the side of the road, like sometimes with no buffer in between them. Like if you're not watching and you run into them, they will like mess your car up. And that's exactly what I did. Luckily I wasn't going fast, so I was parking and pulling into the grass. Well, the grass was so overgrown that it had grown out of the drain and around the drain, so all the grass was just level. So when I pulled off the road, and I mean, like, I'm not pulling off the road so that like both of my tires are in the grass. I'm literally just like I guess it was my right wheel just like went doom. And so me and Maggie were like, oh. And so like my right front tire was like literally just like hanging into this like sewer, and I was just like, oh my god, like how are we gonna get this car out? Like what are we gonna do? So out of nowhere, these like local men just run out and they just start shaking the car, and they're like, put the car, like just reverse it. So they're shaking the car as I'm trying to reverse it, and then we just push back. And I was like, oh my god, nothing was wrong with the car that time. This was my car, this wasn't the rental. But me and Maggie were just like, how did that even happen? And then they were like, yeah, the grass is overgrown, it needs to be cut. They were like, you wouldn't have known that. And I was just like, yeah, we wouldn't. Like, you could not tell there was a drain. And then on top of that, it was night. Second story. Okay, third story, because I know this video is getting long. So third story. So the first car that I ever had in Grenada had like some engine issues, like the radiator. I don't even remember what was wrong with it. The radiator had leaks in it. So I mean, like literally almost every single day, like I wasn't putting coolant in my car because I wasn't about to like keep putting it in there just for it to drain out. Like I had the hosing done multiple times, and it was one of those things that it probably just, all the coils just needed to be like replaced. Like I had so many mechanics do so many things, and I had some great mechanics down there. It was a car. So every day my dad just told me, put water in. Like water's not gonna kill your radiator, but it's gonna keep it cool. It's not gonna keep it as cool as coolant, but it's gonna keep it so it doesn't overheat. So this one particular day, again, Maggie's always with me, we had gone into town, which town from where I lived was about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It wasn't terribly far. We were on the way back to campus, because I think we had got out of class early, so maybe we weren't on the way to campus, maybe we were just back on the way home or something, because it was the afternoon. So I think we had both got out of class early that day, and we had went to like get something to eat like in town. So we're coming through this place called Montu, which if you're from Grenada, you know there's like a few little bars at the end of Montu right as you're coming around the roundabout. And if you're not from Grenada and you don't know where Montu is, like it's just a place where there's always like men hanging out and people hanging out. Like there's a lot of, like the buses pick up a lot, and like as a female, a lot of people catcall in that area. So it's just like an area, like as a student, you just kind of like keep going and just kind of like, you know, just dismiss. If my car couldn't have overheated in a better spot, like right when you turn out of Montu, which is like a very congested area because there's always cars turning into that street and turning out, and it's like a major roundabout in that area, my car just shuts off, like completely the road. There's like a big SGU bus like coming straight at me. This is one of those roads that I'm talking about, was like kind of one of those like, yeah, two cars probably can pass each other, but for the most part you kind of let one go and then the next one goes. I'm just like panicking. I'm like, what do I do, bro? People are honking at me. And Maggie's like, oh my God, you gotta move it. I'm like, the car turned off. So I called my dad, and my dad's like, yeah, the car probably overheated. And again, now this is where I have to give my props to the Grenadians, because they are like the most kindest, genuine people. Some of them, most of them. So many people just ran out of nowhere and like helped me. So I put my car in neutral. I pulled on the side of the road. These men were like, pop your hood. They looked at it. One of the guys that was just hanging out in the area happened to be a mechanic, and like he was like, yeah, one of your hose burst, which I had to replace so many hoses at this point. And I literally just paid him like 100 EC, which is like $40. He went home, got his tools, and like fixed my car on the side of the road. I sat there for about an hour, but it was like helpful. But I was just like, I cannot believe that happened. Like, I was so like diligent about checking it and always putting water in there. Like, I kept a container in my car, but I guess I had just been driving a little bit too long. But so yeah, those are like my major three. Those are the ones I laugh about the most. And like all of those, like I've had Maggie in the car with me, but she wasn't always in the car. Like, I've had some other little like random little things. Like, there was this one time I was on the way home and I was like pulling into my the road that went up to my house, and there was a lady and she was like, oh, do you have any plums? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, there's a plum tree in my yard, but I was like, you can ask my landlord. And she's like, oh, can you take me up there? I was like, oh, my landlord doesn't live up there. And she's like, no. She was like, she won't mind, just let me go up there. Which I think in Grenada it is a crime to steal fruit off of people's trees. But stupid me took this lady up to my yard, and she like went in our yard and like got a bunch of plums. And she was like, can you take me back down? And I was like, no, like if you get caught up here, I didn't bring you up here. And then like there was another time, I remember me and my roommate Kayla and Maggie, we were leaving campus, and we just, any random day, my battery was dead and we had to wait over an hour in the hot beating sun. It was like the middle of the day. It was like 2 or 3 o'clock. Wait for DPSS, which is the campus security, to come, because they'll come do a lot. They had to come jump my car. And I remember Kayla and Maggie were like knocked out sleep in the car, and I'm like, oh, here I am, the mom, waiting for us, like our help to come. But yeah, like I don't know, once I did get used to driving in Grenada though, I really enjoyed it. Like, I liked, like no one's going like 80 miles an hour down there. Like, I mean, some of them do drive pretty fast. I feel like I was never bold enough to like drive those curves like that. Grenada's a very windy country, and I never like did that. But like on my street where I lived in Lansing, it was like a straight shot, or like Maurice Bishop, like near the highway, like it was just like a straight shot. And I mean, sometimes at night when there was no one on the road, like I would go a little faster, and it was just nice. Like, you always had your windows down. Like, my first car didn't have AC, it didn't have a radio. I literally like walked around with my speaker in my car. Only one of the windows didn't go down. One of the doors didn't open, like from the outside. You had to open it from the inside, and then it got to the point where my front 2 doors, you had to open them from the outside. So I would always have to let the window down, open my door, and then let it back up. Like, it was just like, I don't know, the experience. And then like every time I would come home for break, I would like have gotten so used to like driving on the other side of the road that when I got back to the States, I would like turn onto the wrong side. It usually only ever happened like in my neighborhood, but my dad used to be like, okay, you scare me now, because you don't need to be driving like that. But it's just weird. Like, now I feel like if I were to go back, I would feel like normal. Even when we evacuated the island and I went back and I got my car, because at that point I had got another car and it had AC and it had a working radio with an aux. It just felt like nothing. Like, I could come home for break and go back, and it was just nice. But it was definitely an experience, and I tell everyone, like, be careful like down there driving. But I really liked it. It was just like nice to just like have your your arm out the window. Like, I feel like in the States, like on freeways, you're going too fast to enjoy like a breeze in the car. Like, it's just like obnoxious. But those were my stories, and I hope you found them interesting. And if you like this video and you want more story times from when I was in Grenada, because I love reminiscing and talking about my experience, please let me know. Give me topic and idea videos. And yeah, the next time I have a long stretch, which will not be for several months, I will do a story time for you guys. But in the meantime, I'll definitely make videos. I'll definitely try to find some interesting things. I'm hoping once I get like actually started in the clinic, because I had like a pathology and an online rotation, I'm hoping that I can start like doing like little cases, or like, I don't know, like vet stuff for like my vet people out there. So yeah, like I'm hoping like to take on a new take to my YouTube. It's kind of been discouraging because I feel like I'm starting over with my YouTube because I had to build it up to be Grenada and now it's not Grenada. But for you guys that still watch my videos, like, you're the real one. So yeah, until next time, stay safe, stay happy, and hopefully I'll figure out a video to have for you guys soon. So if you watched all the way to the end, you get a bonus story that I forgot to mention. This is like 3 hours after I just recorded that last part. There was another time. So another thing about the cars in Grenada, they were like, most of the cars that the students could afford were really, really old. They were like 95, 96, maybe early 2000s if you were lucky. Like an early 2000s car was a nice to have car for students in 2020 and 2021 and stuff. So my car was a 1995 Suzuki Escudo, and it was a very compact car. It had a back seat. So my first car was a 4-door. My second car was a 2-door car. But the 4-door was a very like small, compact. It was like the door was like here. So the blind spots, like I mentioned, were much narrower. So in this car, if I want to look back, you know, I can, you know, go like that and glance over my shoulder. Well, I was on the right side of the car. So when I did that, I hit the window. Like, I hit the window so hard, like I thought somebody had punched me. And again, Maggie and Kayla were in the car with me, and they were like, what just happened? Because I was reversing out of a small, tiny parking lot into traffic. And like I said, the people drive crazy fast. I was trying to like make sure no one was coming. I almost knocked myself out. So if you watch to this, you got an extra laugh. But okay, for real.